Starstruck.
Nope, still not buying it.
I love you, and you love me. I love you, so let's make a family tree. I love you.
Hey, every pony, welcome back to Pony Talk. Well, since Hearts and Hooves Day is right around the corner, I figured it's the appropriate time to talk about relationships in MLP. And a bit in Equestria Girls, where honestly they haven't fared that well. At least not the ones they intended to happen. But yeah, people usually tend to point to Equestria Girls when they talk about how MLP can't handle relationships well. And let's be honest, that's because Flash and Timber aren't the best examples of that. Flash was just a completely bland, forced romantic interest that the very idea of him is what people rallied against. Thankfully, since they got him out of that role, he has developed a bit, and people are starting to like him now. Timber Spruce, on the other hoof, yeah, I've made my feelings more than known about him. And while that Equestria Girl short about him and Sidetwine in the observatory was okay, it's still not buying that, like I said. Of course, Left Turn and I did a whole video on who we think Sidetwine should end up with. Here's a hint, it's Sunset. Still, you should go click that video because you can always use the views. Back over on the main series, the relationships actually have been handled a bit better. We're just kind of thrown in the middle of them a lot. Like Mr. and Mrs. Cake, okay, they're already a married couple that run Sugar Cube Corner. That's cool. But we didn't even hear about Shining Arbor and Cadence until their freaking wedding day! That's a little bit of bad writing there, guys. Now, granted, we have gotten to know them over the years, and people like them more, and we see the relationship develop, but still, would have been nice to got something before that moment. It's sort of the same way with Big Mac and Sugar Belle. Sure, we got to see how Big Mac eventually won Sugar Belle over, but the crush just kind of came out of nowhere. While I have said in the past that I'm fine with events happening off-screen to show these characters do have lives from when we're not watching them, things like this do kind of need some kind of build-up. It just would have been nice to have kind of a mention of it before hard to say anything. Honestly, the only relationship we've seen so far from meeting to marriage is Bright Mac and Pear Butter. And even that was kind of condensed into flashbacks, but still, they pulled it off so well that the short time we got to know them didn't matter. It felt like we've known them for a while. Of course, we didn't see the end of their relationship. I don't think we need to see that. Still, though, it does stand as one of the best examples of a relationship in the series. And yet it did kind of fall into the trappings of the other relationships we've seen that I've mentioned, and that's the fairy tale version of relationships. You know, the lovey-dovey stuff. Everything's perfect and they get along just fine all the time. The kind of relationships we were afraid would be portrayed in My Little Pony, to be honest. But there is one I think is the most well-rounded and best portrayal of a real relationship in the series. Star Treks. Oh, what, you don't think these two are in a relationship? Well, might I remind you...
The Starlight I love.
And yeah, sure, maybe you could use the reason that, oh, she just meant that platonically, but then something into Change of Changeling happened that I think solidified it. Starlight changed Trixie's mind with just a look. That, my friends, is one classic relationship move. Plus, these two have such amazing chemistry together, it's hard not to see them in a relationship. And part of that is because they don't get along all the time. They bicker, they snipe, they take shots at each other, but at the end of the day, you can tell they really do care for each other. I mean, heck, Trixie was willing to sacrifice herself for Starlight in the Changeling Hive. That is some deep devotion, my friends. And then we went to Trixie pissing off Starlight and all bottled up. But again, I think that's why their relationship is so well done. You're not always going to agree with your partner 100% of the time. Sometimes you are going to upset each other through big acts or just tiny insignificant things. It's just the way things are. No matter how close and compatible you are, personalities just kind of clash every so often. But getting through that and seeing the person for who they are and why you love them is the basis for a great relationship. And Starlight and Trixie have that in spades. I really do see them as the kind who would say things about each other, but the second any other pony said something about them, oh, they begin some fireworks and unicorn beams up the flank. It's part of what makes their dynamics so much fun, and like I've said, why I think they have one of the best relationships in the show. Until Hasbro finally gets their head out of their flanks and puts these two together. But until that time, I'm going to continue to enjoy the misadventures of our favorite unicorn couple, and I can't wait to see what they get up to in Season 8. And speaking of Equestria Girls, since the next Pony Talk will happen after the Forgotten Friendship specials aired, maybe it's time I go back and look at the 3 specials that aired during the summer. So, join me next time when I talk about the return of the Shadow Bolts. Until then, I am Blackbird, and I'll see you again for more Pony Talk.
But I love you. Well, you don't believe me. You say all I think about myself. Let me explain. Don't walk away. I love me. You love you. I love me. So what are we to do?
Teleportation spell, go! Teleportation spell, go! Ah! Teleportation spell! Why do you keep doing that? You know it doesn't work that way. I know!